On today's edition of Cronkite Sports Live, ASU baseball went to Los Angeles and picked up a sweep over the Bruins. We'll have the highlights for you as well as a preview of another LA school coming to town this weekend.
ASU football is getting set for their spring game tonight. Our crew of reporters is out at Mountain America Stadium to get us ready for year 2 under Kenny Dillingham.
It's a new era in Sun Devil swim and dive as Herbie Bem has been named the new head coach. We have a special sit down with him to discuss the new position. We'll have that and so much more coming up on Cronkite Sports Live. If having CSL is wrong, then I don't want to be right. I'm Riley Swenson. That's Ben Paris. And Ben, how are the finals coming along for you?
Riley, it's been a bit of a grind, but once we get past next week, it's smooth sailing, all about having some fun this summer.
That's right. You got tests coming up, and a team that passed the test last weekend was ASU baseball. The Devils were hot in Los Angeles, getting the road kill at UCLA. And of course, we will have those highlights for you, as you can see right there. 3 wins over the weekend. Let's go back to Sunday and take a look. We start this thing off in the top of the inning in the top half of the first. It's Jacob Tobias leaving the yard, getting the Devils on the board. 2-0. They take the lead off of freshman Landon Stump. Now to the bottom half of the inning, Hunter Omlin. He struck out the side 1-2-3. They win 8 strikeouts on the day for him. But now he needs some help from his defense in the bottom half of the second. 2-1 Devils still lead. And Isaiah Jackson is there to make the catch to end the UCLA threat. Now we fast forward to the top half of the 5th inning. Kian Vu at the plate. Devils leading 4-1. And that's a whammy into left center field. A round tripper for Vu. That is his 6th of the season. Extends the lead out to 6-1 Sun Devils. A couple batters later, looks like a replay from back in the first. Jacob Tobias, nearly the same pitch in the same spot and almost the same exact result. Another home run for him, a 2-run shot, his 10th of the season. Pushed the lead to 8-1, but here's the one that stole the show. John Vaughns gives it a ride out to center field, and Isaiah Jackson, go ahead and make a play, my friend. Unbelievable stuff from the Sun Devils center fielder, robbing a hit and a home run from Vaughns. And now it was a bad day to be a baseball in Westwood on Sunday. Eamon Lance with the finishing touches on a 13-1 victory. His 4th of the season for Lance. Sun Devils roll, and Willie Bloomquist, you've got to be happy with the way your Devils played in LA.
All the way around, starting pitching, relief pitching, defense, offense, base running, executing, hitting runs, and putting the plays in motion, and guys executing. That's as well as we played all year, so hopefully we can keep that rolling.
ASU needed a good weekend in the Pac-12, and they got it with the sweep over UCLA, the first over the Bruins since 2010 in the first road sweep since 2016. To help us break it down, we welcome in our WCSN baseball reporter, Aiden Blank. And Aiden, they needed a good weekend. They came away with their most successful one of the season so far against UCLA.
Yeah, it was a bottom 3 team in the pack, but they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And Willie Bloomquist said, in terms of a series, it's probably the best one that they've had all year, which is a very good sign. It's also the first series of the year in which the offense increased over each of the 3 games. 5 runs Friday, 8 runs Saturday, 13 runs on Sunday. It's the second Sunday win of the year. Snapped a losing streak that dates back to February 25th on Sundays. So all around, a very good turnaround weekend and some good mojo coming back for the final couple of home series this year.
We get to say it once more again this week, the final Pac-12 series. Last week it was against UCLA. This week another Southern California school, USC, at home here in Phoenix. And they're similar programs both historically and where they stand right now. Both 10 wins in conference play. Both 20 and 21 overall records this season. On paper, seems like it's going to be a pretty exciting matchup.
It should be. These 2 teams have more MLB players than anybody else in college baseball. They met in the 1998 College World Series Championship. Unfortunately, things have not gone very well for the Trojans since then. Since 2001, they've only been to 3 postseason appearances in 21 years. This year was supposed to be their best in a while. but Andy Stankiewicz just hasn't found the combination. They're 0-4 against the WAC. That couples with a record that's just a game under 500 overall. They're going to have to win the Pac-12 tournament just like ASU if they want to go dancing in June.
All right, and time to ask the question we have to ask every Friday. We never really know what the answer is going to be. Who's in the rotation this weekend? It seems like going into last weekend, they still didn't have it figured out. They had a successful weekend. Do they have any certainty on who's on the mound this week?
They did, and we know Friday and Saturday, at least for this week. Ben Jacobs is going to go Friday, same as last week. Connor Markle on Saturday, just like last week. Willie Bloomquist has said it's expected that Hunter Omlid gets a second consecutive Sunday start, but they've started 12 different guys in that Sunday role, so who knows who's coming up on Sunday. Hunter did have a very good weekend last week, going 4 innings, allowing just 1 run. It was their best Sunday start in quite some time, so it's expected, barring any unforeseen circumstances, he's back on the mound on Sunday for the start.
Alrighty, Aiden, always a pleasure to have you in studio. And first pitch tonight at Phoenix Muni will be at 6:30. The Devils taking on the Trojans for the final time in the Pac-12.
From one diamond to another, down to Tucson we go. Senior day for U of A, going for the sweep over the Sun Devils. Top half, inning number 1, couple runners on. Tanya Windle line shot up the middle. That gets through. Audrey LeClaire comes around to score. ASU on the board first, but this one would be back and forth throughout, so you're going to want to stay put. 3rd inning now. Sun Devils trailing now 2-1. Alicia Denby changes that, though, with 1 swing. Drives in both the runners and herself. Big fly to left field. Puts the Devils up 4-2 for Denby. That is her 9th home run of the season. Bottom half of the inning, though, Taylor Beal says, anything you can do, I can do better. Tank to right field. Puts the Wildcats back in front at 5-4. And for Beal, that's her 4th dinger of the year. Now Sarah Kinch, top of the 6th, bases juiced. They walked a batter to get to her, and she makes them pay doing her MJ impersonation. She took that personally. Grand slam into center field, gives ASU the lead. And it looked like they were possibly going to escape with a win, but the Wildcats had other ideas. Bottom of the 7th, Carly Scoopin at the plate, ropes one into left center field. 2 runs come in to score as you see Reagan Shockey sliding in safely, and that is how the Wildcats get the sweep. Victorious 9-8, handing ASU their 10th straight loss.
And the arm ASU had to rely heavily on against Arizona was Deborah Jones, pitching in 2 of the games on the weekend. 13 innings and 236 pitches. That is quite a high pitch count. To talk about the command she had over the ball last weekend, we bring in Grace Johnson.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Last weekend ended in the series sweep for the Sun Devils, however. Deborah Jones's performance could be described as elite damage control against the number 23 Arizona. She totaled 236 pitches on the weekend, so let's break down some of her pitches. First batter we're going to see right now, she's going to utilize her curve. She's going to put her front foot across her body right here. It's going to go in and out of the strike zone, catches the corner, sits her down, strike 3. Next pitch is also going to be a curve. However, it's just going to miss a little bit up. She didn't get the right release point. Her snap was a bit off, and now we have a tie ball game. Here's some rise ball action. Starts low at the ankles, ends up in the eyes. It's just too irresistible. Coaches always say lay off the high ones, but just can't when you're standing in that batter's box. Jones retired 11 batters in a row, and we'll see another curveball right here, but this time on the opposite side of the strike zone. Still catches her hacking at it. Right here is a fastball down and away. You can see Kinch frames herself low, but just hovers in the middle, and this is going to be a walk-off win, Game 1 Arizona. Go to Game 3. Deb is stretching out her arm. She's high in the strike zone. She's feeling it. And it just takes her yard. The pitch was supposed to be outside, but it just left right at the top of the strike zone. This pitch right here is a screwball that just didn't get enough of velocity or spin on it, and Arizona would walk it off again in Game 3, just take the series sweep. Now, props to Jones to being able to keep her team within distance of an offensive-heavy team, but after 236 pitches, her arm was just bound to be stiff and miss some of her spots. Guys?
ASU football is getting set for their spring game this evening, and there is plenty to talk about right now with Kenny Dillingham's squad. Blake Neiman and Max Cepeda are out at Mountain America Stadium to get us ready for tonight's game. Guys?
Thanks so much, Riley, and welcome everyone inside Mountain America Stadium. Max Cepeda and Blake Neiman here with you, just a little bit away from the second ASU football spring game under Kenny Dillingham. And Max, Kenny Dillingham said he wanted 40,000 people at last year's spring game. And while that may have been some lofty expectations, his Activate the Valley message has certainly spread since across the valley. I mean, heck, just the other day, it was on the top of my taxi.
We're starting, I feel, to get people to understand. We're starting to get people. I saw a taxi cab that said Activate the Valley on it. Somebody tweeted out. And I'm like, that's what this is about. It's a community of people that all have to get behind this cause to get this place where we all know it can go. But everybody's got to stop with the negative. Everybody's got to stop with everything out there that can be perceived as bad or an excuse.
As much as Kenny Dillingham would have liked to turn the page on the negative narrative around ASU's past, new findings were revealed this week by Sun Devil source regarding the NCAA's investigation into recruiting violations made by Arizona State's previous coaching staff, a staff that was helmed by Herm Edwards, who agreed to a 5-year show cause penalty for his significant role in Arizona State's recruiting violations case. Additionally, ASU will have 10 wins from the 2021 and 22 seasons revoked, on top of recruiting restrictions for Dillingham's staff in the coming years.
Now, ASU football hasn't gotten the chance to fully display its roster in front of its fans, even with its 2 already open practices in spring ball, led by Kenny Dillingham, which is unprecedented in this program's history. And with that, we bring in one of our football insiders, Gabby Chernoff. And Gabby, what necessarily should fans be looking forward to tonight, considering all the drama going on off the field?
Yeah, it's definitely been a spring season filled with turmoil here in Tempe. They lost a few big names to the transfer portal, but the 2020 recruiting investigation is closed. The days of the bull ban are behind them. And as Kenny Dillingham enters his second season as head coach of Sun Devil football, there's so much to be excited for in the near future, namely a whole new era of the program as they enter their first season in the Big 12 Conference this upcoming fall. Plus, they've been very active and successful in their recruiting endeavors. They ranked 19th in the nation and 3rd in the Big 12 in 2025 recruiting. Plus, Kenny Dillingham's Activate the Valley motto has been as rampant as ever, and we should start to see that coming to fruition as people start to pour in for this maroon and gold scrimmage. I was actually able to talk to a few fans outside before the game. They're very much looking forward to it. But with that being said, the teams are set. This game is just around the corner, so I'll send it back up to you guys.
So while there is plenty of optimism surrounding the 2024 Sun Devils, they are going to be without many of their marquee stars from a season ago. Last week, quarterback Jaden Rashada, wideout Elijah Badger, along with tight end Bryce Pierre all entered the transfer portal, while cornerback Ed Woods joined them with an unannounced departure from Tempe on Monday morning. Yet amidst the Portapalooza has emerged spring stars Jordan Tyson and Xavier Alford. Our Devin Henderson breaks it down.
Arizona State football spring camp has concluded, and tonight fans will be welcomed back to Mountain America Stadium for their first look at the 2024 edition of the Sun Devil program. After losing over 20 players to the portal or graduation, holes were left on the ASU board. However, Sun Devil fans don't need to worry, solutions may have arrived. Head coach Kenny Dillingham had to go back to the chalkboard this spring to draw out what had left and really reconfigure the new X's and O's. Let's go on head over to the Dilly board. Just recently, the team's leading receiver Elijah Badger entered the portal. He was an explosive wideout that excelled in routes that allowed him opportunities to use his speed after the catch. Here we see him lined up in the slot as a wide receiver. He'll run a crossing route from the boundary side across the formation, opening him up behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties, giving him a pathway to create in the open field. His athleticism and speed out on the field was his greatest weapon during his time in Tempe. A possible replacement is redshirt sophomore Jordan Tyson. Tyson is a similar big play receiver who strives on explosiveness. Here he is in his freshman year at Colorado, lined up on the outside as a Z receiver, but gonna run a similar crossing route with the same goal: attack the weak spots against zone coverage and catch the ball in spaces to create after the catch, which he does pretty well. Like Badger, he's at his most dangerous speeding away from defenders in the open field. On the defensive side, safety Chris Edmonds has graduated from the program. A larger, strong safety, we see him here willing to enter the box, which is the space just behind the defensive line, normally reserved for larger linebackers to make tackles.
Edmonds showed an ability to step up and be physical, disrupting plays early, aiding in run defense schemes. Xavier Alford can now fill that need. The 200-plus pound former USC Trojan would routinely step into that box and display good play recognition, quick closing speed, and again, physicality to step up and make plays at the line of scrimmage. These two, among others, showed out in spring camp and will help Dillingham draw up his final schemes before kicking off this fall. For Cronkite Sports, I'm Devin Henderson.
Thank you so much, Devin. And look, of course, the first year in the Big 12 will present a challenge for Kenny Dillingham, but the difficulties of how to approach a schedule like this will be a challenge for years to come, but important for 2024 to establish a firm foundation. For more on where the Devils will be dropping in year one in the Big 12, here's our very own Justin Lacertosa.
When one storm clears, a new journey begins, and ASU prepares to join a handful of its former Pac-12 foes on a voyage to the Big 12 Conference. Sun Devil football has tallied just 3 victory royales in its last 2 seasons, and the need to win in Tempe has never been higher. So, without further ado, let's board this Big 12 battle bus and see where the Devs are dropping in 2024. The first stop on the Big 12 battleground resides in Lubbock, Texas, the home of the Red Raiders. The first and final time the Sun Devils visited Hub City was in 2017, where Texas Tech took the victory in a 52-45 affair. These two programs have faced off 4 times since 1999, including a Holiday Bowl game in 2013, where Texas Tech defeated ASU by 2 scores. Week 8 drops ASU in Cincinnati, Ohio to take on the Bearcats. A rather unfamiliar foe, the Sun Devils haven't seen a lot of the Bearcats on the gridiron, matching up in Tempe twice in 1954 and 1976, which saw Cincy taking down ASU twice with a cumulative score of 48-6. Now, 48 years later, these two squads will meet in the Queen City, prepared to battle it out in foreign territory for ASU. The Sun Devils will land on more familiar ground during Week 10, taking the trip to Stillwater for the second time in 3 seasons. The last time the Sun Devils visited Oklahoma State was in 2022, where ASU couldn't find an answer for the then 11th ranked Cowboys. However, 31 years prior, the Devs dueled with the Cowboys and came out of Stillwater victorious. But now in 2024, taking down the powerhouse of Oklahoma State will prove to be a tall task for ASU. The next pinpoint on the map comes in Manhattan. No, not that Manhattan. Manhattan, Kansas, as ASU takes on Kansas State. Now, we know ASU has had plenty of bouts with the Desert Wildcats down south, but there is a limited sample size against the Prairie variety. Kansas State has visited Tempe 5 times from 1964 to 1989, with Arizona State coming away with the win all 5 times. Come 2002, the two programs would meet again in San Diego for the Holiday Bowl, which ASU would lose by just a score to a number 6th ranked Darren Sproles-led K-State squad. And finally, to close out the season, the Sun Devils head up to Tucson to take on U of A in the Big 12's first iteration of the Territorial Cup, and the story writes itself. As the storm of change sweeps through Tempe, the Sun Devils have their sights set on victory royales against formidable opponents as they gear up to embark on a new journey on the Big 12 battleground. From Cronkite Sports, I'm Justin Lacertosa.
The spring game is just around the corner, so make sure to stay tuned for all of our coverage of it at Cronkite Sports on socials. But for now, let's send it back to Riley and the crew in Studio 6.
Thank you, guys. It looks a little hot out there, so how about we all cool off with a trip to the pool? ASU Swim and Dive has hired a new coach after the departure of Bob Bowman, naming Herbie Bem the man in charge. WCSN swim reporter Casey McNulty had the chance to sit down with Bem this week and dive in, if you will, about his new position.
To win the relay and the team national championship. There's no denying I remember when I was like 13 or so, telling a kid on my team that I was like, yeah, like I want to be a coach, don't you? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm the only one that wants to do that.
So how do you want to impact the lives of your swimmers, both in and out of the pool?
Well, one, I don't think you can really separate the in and out of the pool because that's just, I think, how life is. I do truly think like swimming and racing is kind of a display of the life you live outside. One thing we always say is like how you do anything is how you do everything.
How much does it mean to you that they're willing to stay and help you build up this program?
Yeah. Oh, it means everything. Yeah, because it's again, that's kind of what we've preached this whole time is that it's the environment. I've made it a point after every time, like in October when Johnny Kulo went to Pan American Games, he won 6 medals there. I remember his first gold medal, we stopped over in the back pool and like watched him win it, and then it was like, this only happens because he's in an environment that allows it to happen. It's not like a single person it's not possible to do that. And it's how we treat each other, how we train together, all of those things combined that allows that success.
How do you want your impact on ASU swimming to be remembered?
I don't know. I think honestly, I feel like the best leaders are able to do that without being seen. So that's kind of what I hope. I hope it can be like a spark that ignites a whole community and gets everyone to recognize their impact, because it's from parents, fans, alumni, kids on the team, recruits coming into the team. It's everybody. Again, I don't think I necessarily need to be the one getting the credit for that, but that's what I hope happens.
Continuing now with the aquatic portion of our show, Sun Devil Water Polo was out at the MPSF Championships in Bloomington, Indiana today, losing 6-11 to USC. That pushes them to 1-40 all-time against the Trojans. They have now lost 36 in a row to them, but ASU was led this season by Lutza Patovary, and our Jacob Brooks had the pleasure of sitting down with her and head coach Petra Party to discuss her journey across the pond.
In 2011, after years of playing for the Hungarian youth national water polo team, Petra Party immigrated to the United States to pursue her dreams of completing higher education and playing collegiate water polo at ASU. 10 years later, Party was now a coach at ASU, and her original journey inspired another Hungarian water polo star in Lutza Patovary to become a Sun Devil.
Both of you guys came to ASU from Hungary. Coach, you played for the Sun Devils back earlier in the 2010s, and then now you're the head coach. Just for people who don't know, what is the water polo scene like over in Hungary?
I would say it's much bigger. Water polo is one of the most popular sports back in Hungary. You know, it's due to its decorated history of Hungarian water polo, multiple Olympic, national champions, world championships, European championships, lots of gold medals. So it's completely different, not even comparable. At home, to be able to finish a higher education degree and to play water polo at such a high level and earn that degree in 4 years, it would have been absolutely impossible.
Despite having to adjust to a new country, Coach Party was extremely successful in her playing days as a Sun Devil, and Lutza credits Petra's journey as her reason to come to ASU.
It's funny because our dads, they played together water polo back in Hungary, and I grew up playing against her brother back in Hungary, so like we knew of each other. She's 100% the reason why I'm here today and why I survived the past 4 years, to be honest. I mean, I think we have a very special relationship, and I feel like sometimes I have trouble like distinguish that she's my head coach, but she's also one of my closest friends here, and then I'm sure that after my last game I'll be sobbing in Petra's arms that I'm not ready to leave or to be done. But
what would be your guys' advice to anyone water polo related or just in life who are thinking about leaving their home country to pursue opportunities in another foreign country? What would be your advice to them?
My advice is that home is always home. Home will always be there. Home will always be exactly what you know it already to be. Take the leap of faith and take the journey and get new experiences.
From Cronkite Sports, I'm Jacob Brooks.
Coming off their third team victory of the season at the Thunderbird Collegiate, ASU men's golf is competing at the Pac-12 Championships at Desert Forest Golf Club in Carefree this weekend, and we welcome in our team of reporters. WCSN's Sam Goodman and Aiden O'Neill are there. Sam, I want to start with you to talk about the Sun Devils' play as a team so far. They sit in 8th place right now at 21 over par. Washington's leading the golf tournament, the only school under par at 11 under. It's a shaky start for ASU in 8th place right now. What's got them off to this type of start?
Well, Ben, as you said, it's been a rough day at the office for the Sun Devils as they set in 8th place at 21 over with Washington leading the pack. And the biggest problem has been these course conditions today for the Sun Devils as they cannot land a putt with these green speeds. It's the opposite of the Thunderbird Collegiate. They are completely out of their comfort zone. It's on top of that, you've got crazy crosswinds out here blowing the ball all across the fairway, into the rough even, and the Devils are just missing. They're playing at the toughest conditions, and they're struggling to adjust.
And once again, Sam, Washington with a 24-shot lead right now at 11 under par. They have a 30-shot lead over Arizona State down in 8th place, who's trying to win their first Pac-12 championship since 2008. And the guy that's going to try to lead them there is Preston Summerhays. He won the Thunderbird Collegiate for a second year in a row just a few weeks ago, was named to the Palmer Cup team for Team USA. Coming up this summer is a semifinalist for the Ben Hogan Award, the award that goes to the best player in college golf. Aiden O'Neill, you've been following Preston so far today up there at Desert Forest. 75 in his first round, 4 over. He's now 6 over halfway through his second round. Not the start he's wanted either.
Yeah, man. Preston is 6 over halfway through the second round here at the Pac-12 Championships. And coming off of winning the Thunderbird Collegiate for the second year run-in, today has simply not been the same. Last year at this tournament, tied for 12th and 2 under overall. At this year's tournament, tied for 37. In order for the Sun Devil team as a whole to get back on track, Preston Summerhays is going to need to be a whole lot better. Ben?
All right, Aiden, Sam, thank you very much. As second round action continues today, the teams will play 18 holes tomorrow. On Saturday, it'll be moving day before the final round, another 18 holes on Sunday. And it looks like our reporters are battling some windy conditions as well, just like the players out there on the course. Guys, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.
ASU lacrosse is just about ready for playoffs as they close out the regular season with UC Davis tomorrow on Senior Day before heading to the Pac-12 tournament. The senior class has seen a lot of success in Tempe, and Ryan Myers has more.
Another Sun Devil lacrosse season is near its end. With Senior Day festivities being held Saturday, it's time to appreciate the impact the class of 2024 had on the program. Twins Bella and Gigi Gasper both started in all 70 games of their ASU careers, moving with synergy in everything they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. We're best friends on and off the field. Obviously, coming into college, we didn't have any expectations to start. It's just kind of come in and work and see where you kind of match up against the older, stronger, better girls. I wish I could have like 12 more seasons. Even though we've played every game, it still feels like it went by super fast.
Outside of the duo, building friendships is something all the seniors have strived for in their time at ASU.
We go out to get coffee, we'll go out to eat, people go to study hall, we go to the athlete things together. We have our Snapchat group chat, our texting group chat. It's like, hey, we're gonna go do this.
The 2024 senior class consists of 12 players who have scored 133 goals and won 34 games for ASU, as 9 of them played in the biggest game in ASU lacrosse history.
The biggest ones would be back in our sophomore year when we hosted Pac-12s, beating USC. We hadn't beaten them all year. We beat them by 1 in the Pac-12 semifinal and then going to the program's first ever Pac-12 final. I'm so grateful to be a part of because it's something that when I think about, just like I fill with joy and love and happiness.
But I think, the biggest thing is like you've had the experience. They've been in those situations. They've seen it time and time again. And so having that trust and knowing that like they have that confidence in that moment is really big.
ASU will play their final home match of the year this Saturday when UC Davis comes to Tempe. Although the Sun Devils are currently on a 3-game losing skid, the senior class will be looking to end on a high note.
I think it just makes it like all the more exciting, like to be the last team to win Pac-12s would be like an amazing title, and I think we're all just like really wanting to be that.
It's the last opportunity for Pac-12, and you know, for our seniors, like we're doing it for them, and so I think it's an exciting time, but also they know it's a grind and they know how important this moment is.
For Cronkite Sports, I'm Ryan Myers.
Arizona, Arizona State, Cal, Colorado, Oregon, Oregon State, Stanford, UCLA, USC, Utah, Washington, and Washington State. The final time on Cronkite Sports Live that we will report on the Pac-12 Conference in our Impact segment. It's crazy to think that these 12 schools in the West will no longer be linked to one another when our show returns in the fall. The conference that sent a team to the most recent college football playoff national championship and was responsible for 3 quarterbacks being selected last night in the first round of the NFL draft is off into the sunset. For kids like me who grew up on this side of the country, it was a blast to watch the Conference of Champions, often after dark, as our introduction to college sports. Thank you to the Pac-12 for the rivalries and elite competition here in the West that we got to see and report on every single day. The conference with more national titles than any other will live on for a long, long time.
To top plays now at number 4. That's Kennedy Blades doing what I'm being told is called a 5-point throw. She would go on to qualify for the Olympics. Of course, she's from right here at Arizona State University.
Some more of the highest scoring weekend of the season for ASU baseball, and this is Jacob Tobias. They're calling him Toby Tanks. He hit 2 home runs in the game on Sunday, one in the top of the first, and this one into the top of the 5th. Dead center field. ASU 13-1 win.
Number 2, another home run from Sarah Kinch. They walked the bases loaded to get to her, and I love my granny, and she loves hers as well. A grand slam for Kinch, but unfortunately, ASU softball will still lose 9-8.
Top play of the week, number 1 on SportsCenter, so rightfully number 1 on CSL as John Vaughns hits a deep drive into right center field, but Isaiah Jackson says, "That's mine," keeps it in the yards as ASU gets the sweep in their final road trip in LA.
That's great stuff there, Ben, but how about some not top plays? ASU basketball, multiple technical fouls in the game against UCLA, and Bobby Hurley must be a fan of Billie Eilish because he says they were the bad guys.
And we're the bad guys. So say hello to the bad guys. You may never see a bad guy like us again, but that's who we were tonight. We were the bad guys. So I'm sure no one else said anything except us all night.
He's just telling us how he really feels. ASU baseball earlier this month, it's Dustin Crenshaw laying down the bunt. Ethan Mendoza says, "I'm going to try to go behind the back with my glove." Didn't quite work out, or did it? Over to third, they still get the out. ASU dropped that game 5-3.
Well, and who says the top play needs to be done by a human? The not top play number 2, it's Bees out at Farrington Stadium delaying the game for quite some time. You see them trying to get hold of those Bees. They would resume play eventually. Interesting stuff.
The not top play of the semester was the fight of the year in college hockey at Alaska Fairbanks. Tucker Ness and Dawson Berensky getting after it. This led to suspensions for both of them and 222 penalty minutes being called in the final 43 seconds of that game.
Yeah, some wild stuff up there in Alaska, Ben, and that will do it for our show today. For Ben Paris and the rest of the crew that makes it possible each week here, our final show here and my final show here in season 20. But CSL will see you after the summer break. So long.